welcome to Mo's World, the baseball podcast. Yep, another baseball podcast. Here we talk about baseball like a few friends sitting at the bar. Awesome. We're excited to bring you our latest episode. If you enjoy the podcast, spread the word to your friends. Alrighty, I guess we have to address the elephant in the room. Everyone has heard doomsday predictions over the next CBA, the collective bargaining agreement in Major League Baseball. Are you familiar with the potential clash? Do you care? Well, unfortunately, this is the nasty business side of baseball we all hate to talk about, the reality of the game. So what are the current issues in Major League Baseball? Well, we've got a while, but it's going to creep up on us quick because on December 1st, 2026, the collective bargaining agreement expires. And the potential salary cap is a major point of contention, with owners pushing for it while players are opposed to it. So past labor disputes have led to work stoppages, raising concerns about the possibility of another lockout. Now, owners and players are not stupid. They understand what a work stoppage will do to the game, but the big but is, how do they avoid it? There's a noticeable gap in team payrolls. Top teams like the Dodgers and Mets spending over $300 million, while others like the Oakland Athletics spending around $84 million. Now, this disparity affects competitive balance in the league, and everyone's been calling for reforms except the players. Well, I think that this is a bit of a bullshit topic. So what exactly are the owners bitching about? I think it's more the luxury tax system, the CBT, which serves as a luxury tax rather than a strict salary cap, allowing teams to exceed spending limits but imposing penalties. Now, we talked about this in Season 1, Episode 6, the RSNs. And the RSNs have vanished, Regional Sports Network. So Major League Baseball's fighting within to have team ownership share their local revenue. And how can Major League Baseball negotiate a new CBA agreement when they can't get a consensus among the owners? So this is something that we're going to have to see what's going on. But the competitive balance tax is a joke. Teams are receiving money as recently in 2023. The Miami Marlins, the Pittsburgh Pirates, the Cincinnati Reds, the Kansas City Royals, the Cleveland Guardians, the Detroit Tigers, the Baltimore Orioles, and the Arizona Diamondbacks. They were all received funds from the CBT. And, well, I guess you got to say, what did the TV deals have to do with a player agreement? Seriously? Well, we've showed how cheap the owners who tank year after year, so money talks. And where does the money go? For example, in 2023, about $210 million was due to be paid by 8 clubs that season. The first $3.5 million of the money goes towards player benefits. Of course, it's undefined, and then the remainder is split 50-50 between player retirement accounts, and into the revenue sharing pool. Meaning nearly $100 million was due to be allocated to those clubs. The rest will go into get a load of this one, a supplemental commissioner's discretionary fund. And that's distributed by the commissioner. And what the hell is that? Holy crap. So if the Pirates receive revenue sharing funds from Major League Baseball to compensate for local TV revenue, the exact amounts aren't publicly disclosed? Why not? I don't know. The problem in Major League Baseball isn't that teams spend too much. It's that teams have the money to spend but don't. As I mentioned before, the Pirates and A's both have payrolls under $100 million. However, both of their owners have a net worth of over $1 billion, meaning they have more than enough to invest in the club. So a salary floor will force these cheap-ass owners to start putting money into their clubs. True. And that would be a minimum number that the team has to spend. Now, you may say that these small market teams don't bring in the same revenue as the big market teams. However, that's not entirely true. While teams in bigger cities bring in higher revenues, it's not like these teams are left out to dry. Major League Baseball has teams pool 48% of the revenue they earn, and then that revenue is split among the 30 teams. Holy shit. Giving these smaller market teams an influx of cash. But instead of reinvesting into the team, these owners normally pocket it. That's the problem. So, Major League Baseball owners, fix it. Fix the cheap problem of cheap ownership before you want more money and want to tear things apart. It doesn't make any sense. So the competitive balance concerns, once again, it's the leveling the field. That's what we're going to be hearing about. Of course, we always hear about player health and safety, and I guess that's a good question. And you got to say, why is baseball experiencing so many injuries? Is it too much information, too much training, too much bulking up? I'm not sure, but it is a debate. Now, the implementation of new technologies, such as the automated ball strike, the ABS system, that aims to improve the game, but it raises questions about traditional umpiring. Everyone's still pretty bitchy over that, but these are the challenges that we can see. We'll hear more during the season to see how both parties will be jockeying for public support. Just makes you laugh. Once again, we're supposed to side with either millionaire players or billionaire owners. In the end, as always, the outcome is that the fans get screwed. And speaking of getting screwed, Major League Baseball teams increasing ticket prices in 2026. Holy shit, now we're going to get hit by baseball as well. And it seems typical what the Cubs are doing. Their average increase is about 5 to 8% for season ticket holders. And, they guarantee that you get to see the 2027 All-Star game. But whoopee. The Cardinals now, they seem to be raising prices 15% for season ticket holders. Now, this price hike comes with a struggling team, declining attendance, and you would think that typically that would lead to lower prices to attract fans. But that's not the analogy on why tickets are going up. I guess the Cardinals are saying, we suck now, so we'll charge you more. Amazing. And speaking of more, the San Diego Padres have increased prices for the 5th straight year in a row. Prices are expected to rise over 7% this year, and that's the 5th year of going up. And it's probably all due to the internal ownership strife and their desire for more money. Even the Atlanta Braves are thinking about raising their ticket prices. The A-list membership, that's the members who subscribe to season ticket packages, have been saying that their tickets have gone up 20 to 32%. I haven't seen anything concrete on that, unfortunately. But it's sad to see that even after a shit season, they too subscribe to the let's raise prices theory. So we got to contend with getting our value worth of tickets, right? And speaking of that, have you ever been to a Savannah Banana game? Did just saying that bring a smile to your face? Why? Have you experienced the event known as Banana Bowl in person? This summer, the topic in the news was the idea that Major League Baseball was going to purchase the Savannah Bananas. What? Who came up with that dumbass idea? Now, can the Savannah Bananas and Major League Baseball not coexist? Who asked that question about the Harlem Globetrotters and the NBA existing together? Of course not. It's called entertainment. The Savannah Bananas are entertainers on a baseball field. Talking about cost and the value for your dollar, this had to pop up, right? Because when you go to a Savannah Banana game, the first thing you're anticipating this event in person. You are ready for it. And notice I said event, not game, because that's exactly what it is. It's an event. Now, you'll probably never see anything like this if you don't go to a Savannah Banana game live. Seeing a game live is seriously a fun experience. Right from parking your car and walking to the stadium, wherever that may be, at Savannah's Grayson Stadium or on their world tour visiting all kinds of minor league and major league ballparks. Everyone's in yellow, family, friends, groups, all getting into it. Seeing all the merchandising tents outside the stadium, then inside, the activities just seem nonstop. The friendly greetings. Wow, now that's what most Major League Baseball stadiums could copy. It's called customer service. The value for your dollar is superior, plus the fact that more than likely you had to jump through hoops to get a ticket lottery, just to try and get tickets. Wow, wild. Now, owner Jesse Cole is a marketing genius, and I wish Major League Baseball would copy, just for the sheer effect that the fan is number one priority. That alone is amazing. If you ever get the opportunity to experience the event known as the Savannah Bananas, I'd say do it. It'll make you feel like a kid again. And next topic, we've got to say, the biggest thief in baseball. Yep, it's finally over for Anthony Rendon. In 2020, the Angels signed Rendon to a 7-year, $245 million free agency deal. He was just coming off a World Series win with the Nationals and took advantage of some great timing. Rendon led the league in fielding in 2016, 2017, 2018, and he was hitting just as good. In 2018, he played 136 games, led the league with 44 doubles. He also had 24 home runs, 92 RBIs. He batted .308 and produced with a 137 OPS plus. The following year, his age 29 year, he had a 7.3 WAR, playing in 146 games. He scored 117 runs, led the league again with the identical 44 doubles. But this time he produced 34 home runs and led the league with 126 RBIs. He only struck out 86 times while hitting .319 with a .412 on-base percentage and a .598 slugging. His OPS was through the roof with a 1.010, and his OPS plus was 157. I mean, this guy was for real. He was an all-star, third in voting in MVP, a Silver Slugger. What a year, right? So it was looking good. You would think that this was a good deal for the Angels and Rendon. But this was a classic case of the team not doing due diligence on the player. You see a free agent out there and you wonder, is he right for our team? And then the Angels commit to a 7-year contract and you hope he fits in. Then you start hearing things. 1 year, 2 years into the contract, former teammates, coaches, and the player himself making comments to the media. When did the Angels realize, shit, this guy's a piece of shit. He really doesn't give a fuck. And because that is the reality. Anthony Rendon took the money and didn't run, he quit. This is why long-term contracts to go to another team is a crapshoot. Now, I'm glad that this did not turn into a Bobby Bonilla bonanza, say that 3 times fast, for Rendon. He doesn't deserve anything. Good for the Angels to finally cut their losses. Unfortunately, next should be Mike Trout. It's time to move him to the perfect team, the Phillies or maybe the Orioles, homeward bound. The Angels just need to do that next. It's a shame. As we've stated on the podcast before, it's no wonder the Angels had no direction or consistency needed to make the playoffs. Spending $38.5 million for Rendon and $37.1 million for Mike Trout means the Angels were paying $75.6 million for two players who hardly ever played. Great way to set a team. For this reason alone, Angel fans should be ecstatic. Look, you guys couldn't win with Rendon, Ohtani, and Trout. It's just time to move Mike Trout. He has $185.5 million remaining for the next 5 years. Question is, what is he worth? Because this is not the Mike Trout of even 5 years ago. Jeez, I did not want to really turn this into a Mike Trout question. But seriously, how? It makes too much sense now that the Angels have moved on from Ohtani and now Rendon. And looking at Mike Trout's current stats, they're actually sad. After a reign of 8 years of being the dominant player, his career is over as that player. Mike Trout just finished his 6th year in a row of not leading the league in any category. And that's after leading in 47 offensive categories for 8 years in a row. Wow. Whew. Now, I hate putting Mike Trout in the same sentence with Anthony Rendon. They're totally opposite players. Unfortunately, the results of both sank the Angels. And a lot has been said of owner Artie Moreno being out of touch. I guess most think he should have seen the writing on the wall and moved Ohtani when he walked in free agency. I really can't argue with that. He should have. But he can do the right thing now for Mike Trout and the fans. Trades? Hey, how about Mike Trout to the Orioles for Tyler O'Neill? Plus, the Orioles received $30 million from the Angels towards Trout's contract. Now, I'm using $30 million because that's the number the Marlins swallowed when trading Giancarlo Stanton to the Yankees in 2017. And he had 10 years and $285 million remaining. Or what about Mike Trout to the Phillies for Andrew Painter, right-hand pitcher? Plus, the Phillies received $25 million from the Angels towards Trout's contract. I'm using $25 million in this scenario because Painter would be a better prospect. Now, this could be an absurd ask, but you get the idea. Philly's going to have a lot going on in their outfield this year. You're going to see a different looking outfield, so maybe there's a spot for Mike Trout to go back and get into right field. Who knows? Something to ponder. Mock trades are always fun, but somehow it should happen. Well, we've rambled on. Thanks for joining us for Season 3, Episode 1, first episode of 2026 of Mo's World, the baseball podcast. Each episode lasts about approximately 20 minutes. We appreciate your support and encourage you to share the podcast with your friends. Our next podcast will be released in 2 weeks on Friday, January 23rd. We want to thank everyone for listening while you ask yourself, whose world is it? It's Mo's World.
Awesome!